Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone here in studio. Shout out to our producer Ryan. Okay, guys, the Cavs still in the quest for that 1 seed clinch, and we got our guards a little bit of a rough West Coast trip. We got the home opener tomorrow as of shooting this show. We can talk about the Browns. Got a packed show ahead for you. How we feeling?
Well, I'd feel a lot better if the Cavs would have clinched and the Guardians were playing a little bit better. What happened, Nick, on the West Coast? You were out there with them, took in a couple of games. What's going on with our guards right now?
Brutal start to the season, guys. Definitely didn't pick up where the guards left things off. It seems like the rotation might not be as good as we wanted it to be. Seems like the offense maybe isn't capitalizing on all of their opportunities. So really rough West Coast trip out there for pretty much everybody except maybe Jose Ramirez and Cade Smith. Kind of were the only two players that could really feel good about where they're at right now.
Yeah.
And something over the weekend I thought was going to be rough, but wasn't so rough. There was actually kind of some fun. Was the Minecraft movie. Have you guys seen the Minecraft movie?
Oh, no. Okay, give us
So my kids last week said, Dad, we want to go see this movie. At that time, it was getting horrible reviews. Everybody told me this thing was just god-awful. And so I went ahead and I went online. I booked us a couple of tickets there to see the movie on Saturday. And this was on Friday when I booked them. Nobody else had bought any seats in this theater. By the time we got to Saturday, the theater was packed. And it was packed with kids. And every time they would do any kind of the meme lines from Minecraft, Chicken Jockey, Flint and Steel, My Name is Steve, all that stuff, these kids would just go nuts. There was popcorn everywhere. My kids loved it. It was fun. I'll tell you, I've played Minecraft. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I was very much in the culture that day. It was just a raucous theater. So if you have a chance to go see it in theater. You don't want to catch this movie later on if you're just by yourself because you're just going to be like, what am I watching? But in a theater, that was fun.
Yeah.
It's McNeil sounds like me when we saw Sonic.
Yeah,
Sonic
honestly, just like very amused by the whole thing. Like I've never played Minecraft. I don't really know.
Really?
Like,
You missed that whole thing?
Missed the whole thing. I don't know any of the inner workings of Minecraft, but so like you would suggest the movie though, like even
if you're going to see it with a crowd, if you're going to go see the experience, you know, it's kind of like when you watch the Browns sometimes and they're bad. At least you're around people and you can kind of commiserate. In this sense, it's people who are really into it, they're really loving it, and you can kind of feel that energy for the movie. So it was fun.
That's funny. I think that's a cool experience. That's kind of how I felt when we watched Sonic 3. We were there to kind of support. I'm from Cleveland and stuff, but it's just funny because I was even thinking when it started, I'm like, this is silly. I'm not going to get into this. And then like halfway through, I'm so committed. I'm in the culture, like you said. I'm in the culture. I like that. That's
when you guys
the power of visual.
It was literally all kids, wasn't it?
Ours was kids.
Yeah,
so we had a lot of teenagers, so there was a little bit of a disparity there. It wasn't completely
it was like
all
the
kids,
parents and then like young people, young adults. But
But you could tell. I'll tell you what, this thing's gaining momentum right now. I think that's going to be a big thing throughout this summer is this Minecraft movie, which I never would have guessed last week when my kids asked me to go to this thing, and I'm like, oh my God, there's not enough beer in the world to get through this thing.
I'm sure I could get converted knowing that was your experience then too.
Yeah, I like to go see it.
Let's segue this back to Cleveland sports somehow. Let's see. Where were we? Guardians, I don't know. Should we take our first break?
Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll dive more into it right after this. Thanks for watching Big Play Cleveland.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Infinity, luxury experiences for those who dare to be different.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for your Cleveland headlines, brought to you by Fairway Ford.
Fairway Ford offers complete customization for any vehicle on the lot with their Fairway Black Label line. This series features custom upgrades like premium wheel and tire packages, a wide variety of level or lift kits, performance enhancements, and fully customized interior options. And every Fairway Black Label truck comes with Rhino spray-in bed liner. Whether you're looking for an aggressive off-road stance, a bold street presence, or a one-of-a-kind build, Fairway Black Label delivers. As a bonus, many of these upgrades can be financed for as little as 0% APR, depending on the vehicle line. You dream it, they can build it. Visit fairwayfordohio.com to explore their current Black Label inventory or give them a call to start designing yours today.
All right, guys, let's start with the Cavs here. We're shy of clinching that 1 seed. Thought we were going to get it done against the Kings, but we're going to get it done, though.
We're going to get it done. There's 4 games left.
Yeah.
So presumably we're going to win one of those 4 games, a couple of them against the Pacers. We've got the Bulls this week. I'm anxious to get it behind us. You know, we had a moment in that game on Sunday where you have Donovan Mitchell go down, wrench his ankle. You don't want to see anything like that. That's the last thing we want to see at this time of the year. So just get this thing clinched, get this thing done, and we can roll on in the playoffs against whoever the play-in is.
Yeah, and I think right now there's a little bit of panic about these Cavs just because they haven't been playing the Cavs basketball that we all fell in love with earlier in the season. But I think right now Kenny Atkinson's trying some things. Obviously, we've seen DeAndre Hunter in different lineups. You know, Chris still got that card up your sleeve of inserting DeAndre Hunter into the starting lineup at some point come playoffs. Yep. And really the play-in tournament gives good teams a nice little buffer of a week too, just to get that extra 100% healed up and ready to go for playoff time. So I'm not worried about these Cavs. They're going to clinch the 1 seed in the East this week. The Eastern Conference will run through Cleveland, and I think that's going to be really important, especially come playoffs and what I expect to be an Eastern Conference playoff clash of the Titans with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason that the worry for our energy is going to disappear. Because I know Kenny was talking about he expected a little more energy. We're at home. We're right there to clinch. Yeah. It was an odd game. It was just back and forth. It was like a little tennis match. And then we're so used to coming back and pulling it out at the end, and I think it was just a little odd that we didn't have that. To me, the 2 players that did bring the energy was actually Ty Jerome, but he got the recharge.
Again, yeah.
I mean, he was charged enough because he spent so many 5 games off or whatever. He comes out with 20 points, a team high. And then I thought Max Strus actually had a lot of energy. He had 7 assists. He was dropping dimes all over the place. And then a couple clutch threes in the 4th. He just seemed like he had a lot of energy, but I'm certain the team will put it all together when it matters most. Let's pivot to the Guardians here, because this is another team where we're talking about energy and also I think just proficiency. What do you guys think, if we could expound upon what you think is the Guards' issue?
Well, I think number 1, the starting pitching. I mean, you look at right now, you come into this season, obviously we didn't make any acquisitions, meaningful acquisitions in my mind, and you had some losses there. And you looked for your pitching to really establish this team this season and provide a good base, both starting pitching as well as the bullpen. We've seen both falter here early on. We've seen some good stories, but defensively, we touched on it before, but you see guys like Jose, even Stephen Kwan having some issues out there in the field. So I really look for this team, hopefully to get back on track. Once we get home, you get back into the environment, you kind of feed off of the home crowd here back in Cleveland, get off the road, and hopefully we can right this ship. And, you know, I do have confidence in Stephen Vogt. He's shown us over the course of last year that he's able to bring this team together, and he's going to have to do that, Nick, once again.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, that's the beauty, one, of a 162-game season, but more importantly, that's the beauty of playing in the American League Central Division, which is still kind of candidly a joke.
Garbage.
So what's nice is you've got the White Sox, who are hilariously bad this week. Then following that, you've got the Kansas City Royals. So you've got an opportunity to beat up on a couple of teams that aren't as good here in Cleveland. I know the weather probably isn't what we all want it to be, and that might not be the best climate for these guys to come back to, but hopefully just getting home, getting back into your full routine and full swing could get these guys right.
Let's wrap up with a little bit of Browns talk here and the Colorado Pro Day. It seemed like Dion was pretty confident that the Browns are going to draft Shedeur or Hunter at number 2. What are your thoughts?
My guess is it's going to be Hunter of those 2, and I think they're going to try potentially to get Shedeur maybe later on, and that's kind of the hot rumor that's going around. You can see it on social media right now. A lot of people talking about that combo because of what they did out there in Colorado, and because of some of the kind of messaging that's coming out of Berea right now. So I'll be interested to see what happens. I'm still have not closed the door about them taking Abdul Carter. Despite all the smoke going the opposite direction, I still think that there's a good chance that they could sneak in there, grab him when everybody else thinks they're going to do something else.
Yeah, and Chris, it's recency bias smoke is what it is, because that was the last pro day, the showcase in Boulder. So now everybody is talking about is Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. And I said when I got back here from Indy at the Combine, I think in a dream world where the Browns had their starting quarterback, they would love Travis Hunter on this roster, because Andrew Berry lauded then and has continued to compare Travis Hunter to the likes of Champ Bailey. And that's you're not making those comparisons publicly if you're not a fan of the player. And Berry said, he can score a touchdown on offense or defense anytime that the football is in his hands. And the Browns would love a player like that. The caveat being, Kenny Pickett is still the only healthy quarterback on this roster. And right now, I really think this is a two-man race. I almost wonder and almost feel like that some of this Travis Hunter love is a little bit of a smokescreen. And it's a little bit of getting everybody to buy into Travis Hunter, getting everybody to buy into the fact that maybe we don't need a quarterback. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if it still is Shedeur Sanders over Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders over Abdul Carter, there with the number 2 overall pick. Because if you like that quarterback enough, and if you've got a first round grade on him, period, and you believe that he's your future face of the franchise, you're not going to roll the dice and try to get both of them. You're going to stay there at 2 and draft him with the number 2 overall pick. So I still would not count out Shedeur Sanders being the pick to Cleveland.
This draft can't come soon enough. I am so sick of all the draft talk, all the smoke screens and everything. Just get me to Lambeau. Let's get this thing
Come
over
on,
with.
Chris. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most.
We haven't even broken down the 33 overall yet.
Or any of the other 9 picks that we've got. We've got a total of what, 10 picks in this thing, and everybody just keeps talking about our first pick overall. So there's a lot that needs to be done in this draft overall. We're focused on that first pick, and rightfully so. We're still looking for a quarterback and some main pieces, but I'll be interested to see what the haul ultimately looks like when we get to Lambeau and when we get to the draft.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, too, Chris. You've got your green on because the Masters are coming up.
Right.
Do you have a favorite?
I like Rory. Why not? Rory getting it done, getting the career Grand Slam. I know it's been over 10 years since he last won a major. I'd love to see Rory come into Augusta, have a good week, and ultimately be donning that green jacket.
Stick around. We'll be chatting with Jimmy Hanlon, but also right up next, we've got Bringing the Heat with Jensen Lewis.
Hey everybody, it's Nick Padone for Northeast Factory Direct. Baseball season's back, Bringing the Heat with Jensen Lewis is back, but more importantly than that, it's patio season, and you've got to go get your patio right at Northeast Factory Direct. The Big Play Sports Network spending opening day on the patio at the Thirsty Parrot, but after that, you're going to want to hang out in your own backyard. Turn it into the ultimate hanging spot. We're talking about beautiful outdoor sectionals, dining sets, sofas, swivel chairs, fire pit tables, hot tubs, you name it. Stylish, durable, super affordable furniture with our friends over at Northeast Factory Direct. It's truly a unique furniture buying experience. You could shop online anytime by going to northeastfactorydirect.com, but you have to check them out in person. Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. Make sure to ask about that extra special Big Play bonus. When you do, you're going to get an extra special hookup. We bring in Jensen Lewis for Bringing the Heat. Jensen, what was your first opening day like, and did it snow?
Yeah, actually, guys, ironically, it was opening day of 2008, and we were home against the Chicago White Sox. So this year, the homestand, not actual opening day, but the actual home opener going up against Chicago does bring back some memories there. It was cold. Guys, I think we're in the high 30s, low 40s at one point. I came in and struck out Jim Thome after CC went 5 and change, I believe. I do remember that. And then that's probably the coldest home opener I think that I've ever been a part of. So no change this week, guys, a cold one as well. But boy, you need this offense to really try and catch some fire. That's for sure.
Does the cold benefit the pitchers more or the hitters, Jensen?
Honestly, Chris, it probably benefits the pitchers, but it depends on the pitcher because, you spend those, 4 to 6 weeks. At that point, guys, remember, that was our last year in Winter Haven in 2008 in Florida. So either way, you come from a lot of heat and potentially humidity there if you're in Florida to some of these cold places and then back home where the grip can be a little bit tougher. And maybe if you're a breaking ball heavy guy, it takes a little bit for, your hand to kind of warm up and be ready to go. So all the elements aside, guys, the adrenaline is plenty flowing, especially for that home opener day. And so I think it more is if the entire homestand is in those 20s and 30s and you get some snow later in the night games, that's when, as a leverage reliever, it could really affect you.
So here we are, 9 games into the season, Jensen. We're 3-6 right now. You got the fan base jumping off of the of the on board of the season right now. How long until you start to be concerned about this team?
I honestly, and it's across the board, Chris. April is always overreaction month, as I've told you guys the last couple of years, and that's positively and negatively. And so you get to right around that first week of May, and then I think that's really the large sample or a large enough sample to look at all facets of the ball club. Make no mistake about it, it was a common theme that I had discussed with you guys too. The offense was going to be in trouble without Josh Naylor early, and I think that's kind of bearing out here. Kyle Manzardo's been great, but I think Ron Washington kind of gave you an idea of how opponents will probably approach this group, especially with Jose Ramirez getting the intentional walk as many times as he did the last couple of games of that road trip. So it's not a surprise for me. I've said it for years. Why do you keep pitching to this guy when he goes out and he hits 3 bombs in the first game? Obviously, you want to bypass him and try and force someone else behind him to beat you. And now, without that Josh Naylor security blanket, I get it, Kyle Manzardo off to a great start, but they're going to need a lot of help in the middle of this lineup if they're going to compete.
Yeah, you mentioned it being overreaction month. It feels like some of the shakiness that we've seen has been defensively. There's been a lot of errors, even from guys that were not used to having errors in the field. That's got to be just early season jitters, right?
You hope, and Nick, you were there kind of on the ground level to see it, and really up close to me. There are just some of those. Okay, yeah, it could be early in the year, but also now continuity throughout these next few months. Let's see if it turns around, because if it does prevail, guys, that's a whole nother part of the ball club that you probably weren't as worried about going into the season. So remains to be seen here yet again. The Padres series, really the series finale was just. Tom Amansky's not calling for that tape anytime soon. But I think that's part of this, guys, is you're having young players and even some of the veterans, uncharacteristic things that may happen, but you don't want to blow it out of proportion just 7 to 8 games in.
That's fair. Jensen, how much do you think that the clubhouse camaraderie plays a role? To be fair, again, we're only several games in, but do you think that, like, Josh Naylor's absence, or even the absence of Andres Jimenez and the leadership that he brought to the table on field and just as a personality, do you think that has, maybe it's a rocky start because we're finding our new personality too?
It's a great way to look at it, Gab, right? Because each year, each team has sort of a new identity. You may have the same core pieces here, but each year is different, and it does take some time for clubs to gel, and that's part of kind of that feeling out process as we got through. Tito Francona was so good at being able to be patient with that aspect of his club, and you guys kind of saw that bear out. One of the, if not the winningest manager in the second half of the season in his tenure, one of the top when he was here managing Cleveland. So something that Stephen Vogt and this coaching staff probably keep at least a pulse about as we get into May and perhaps June, but Gab, it's really incumbent upon the players. Different personalities come in, different makeup of the club, different leadership, and whether that's guys that are outspoken, maybe guys that are quiet. I was lucky. I played with guys that we had probably a nice balance where we had guys that were loud. We had guys that led by example or a bit quieter. So we'll see. Let's let it play out and see what the new kind of identity here in 2025 will look like.
Jensen, the Royals are coming to town after this White Sox series. How important is that series for the Guards? 2 back-to-back AL Central matchups. But really, we don't see the Royals until late July, which is kind of a weird nuance in the schedule. Does that matter or not really that much?
Always. Yeah, Nick, we always joke, but it's not a joking matter. The series in April count the same as the series in the second half of the season, especially in September, and you don't want to have to worry about, God, we should have been able to take a series at home when there were opportunities there. You guys remember last season when we looked back at that series tiebreaker potentially with the New York Yankees, right? And it was that doubleheader in which if you were able to get that game that went to extra innings, then maybe it's a different look and home field advantage maybe shifts a little bit. So all those things come into play, guys. It's the beauty of the 162 is everything in April counts the same as it does in September.
Okay, Jensen, it's Masters week down there at Augusta. Who is your pick? Who's going to win the Masters this year?
Oh, man, I've got a couple in pocket right now. I did get Hideki Matsuyama, and I got Sepp Straka at 100-1. I will add probably throughout the week. I know everyone is going to be on Morikawa, and I hope he's there. I wouldn't be shocked at some long shots like a Robert McIntyre in there, maybe an Akshay Bhatia. But I think you stay a little bit chalky. I'll probably be in on John Rahm. Anxious to see what the live guys coming in for the first time, how that affects maybe some of the tour dynamic guys and how that plays out. But man, if Rory is going to make a lot about his elbow, I think we find out very early that Thursday round if it's affecting him. But it's been as good a shot for him in recent form coming into a Masters as he's had in his career. And does Scotty Scheffler coming down Magnolia Drive there or Magnolia Lane end up just morphing into Superman? I mean, we've seen it the last couple of years where he's just a different guy as soon as he tees it up there. So I think we're going to be in for a hell of a Sunday finish.
You hit just about everybody there except Bryson DeChambeau. Any love for DeChambeau?
I could see him in like a top 10 market. I don't know if I'll play him on an outright. I do think that there are some other guys that could definitely get in there and make some noise, but he'll definitely be a rooting favorite. No question about it.
He really can do it all. Jensen Lewis, it's time for our Northeast Factory direct question of the week. You had to know that this was coming at some point. Travis Bazzana has been tearing the cover off that baseball in Akron. The fans want to know when we can expect to see Travis Bazzana in Cleveland.
I hope it's before the All-Star break. That's the selfish part of me, guys. But this organization has traditionally been conservative as far as those call-up times. Now, if the offense needs a jolt and they need something at the top of this lineup with Stephen Kwan and Jose Ramirez, I could see them maybe being a bit more aggressive. But I may target June at the earliest and maybe in that second half after the All-Star break for maybe a push for another division title.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Jensen Lewis. Make sure to go follow him on social media at JLew50. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We are ready for our Garage Beer featured interview. Garage Beer is the perfect beer for any occasion. It's small batch, no frills, no bitterness. It's just beer that tastes like beer. The garage is always open with Garage Beer. And today, joining us in studio in the Garage Beer throne, we welcome on a very special guest, PGA Golf Pro and host of 18 Holes. We got Jimmy Hanlon back in studio.
Love it, love it, love it. By the way, we sell a ton of Garage Beer at both of my golf courses. Just crushing it with it right now.
There you go.
It's a good start.
Speaking of, they've got a lime green Garage Beer. We're talking green because of the Masters. What makes Augusta so special?
First of all, what a great lead-in. Good job by
Yeah,
you.
that was off the fly. Glad we got that.
Yeah, that was great. So, listen, I think it's a little bit of everything, right? Like when you get to Augusta, it is – so we have a green carpet here, which you cannot see on air, but it is very well vacuumed and beautiful. And that's what the whole property looks like at Augusta. So it's not like you see a green that's nice. You see 250 acres that are literally perfect, right? So I'm talking about the people that get to be there. It's insane. The history of the golf tournament and how it started and where it's got to now, being an invitational. Augusta National is not a PGA Tour event, right? It's not run by the USGA. It's run by the members at Augusta National. And they run such an insane, incredible event that the best players in the world are just dying to get into this tournament to play, right? I mean, that's just what it is. That doesn't exist in any other sport anywhere, right? Nobody has a group of people that runs an event and the best athletes want to be at it, right? It is what it is. So I think that's what makes it so special. When you watch it on TV, and you've heard this a million times, it's almost cliche. The golf course looks a little hilly. When you get out there and walk it, and we have some friends that are going to be out there this week, it's like you're standing on your head. It's so hilly, right? You can't really see what you experience in person on television. And I just tell people, just go, right? I mean, I can talk about it forever. Just go if you get a chance one time, because it's an experience. I told a good friend of mine that owns TNBA basketball here in Cleveland, Shane Raminsky. Shane is going for the first time, and he asked me the same question. I'm like, just wait till you get there, right? He's really tight with Travis Kelce, Garage Beer. So he's been to Super Bowls. He's been to all this stuff. I said, it's going to blow that all away. It's going to blow a Super Bowl away. It's going to blow a World Series. I've been to World Series. I've been to NBA championships, been to Super Bowls. Blows them all away. Not even close. Best fan experience in sports, in my opinion.
McNeil, have you ever been?
I have not.
Okay.
My parents have been down there. They've seen the whole experience, but I myself have never been down there. So
Bro,
it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, you're a big golfer, man. You got to
Yeah.
get there, dude.
I know.
That's all you.
Got to make it happen.
Yeah, you got to make it happen.
So any favorites for this week at the Masters? Who are you going to be watching? Who do you think is going to be at the top of the leaderboard come Sunday?
You're diving right in.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, from a standpoint of, I look at it two ways, right? Who I really think is going to win, and then who would I actually maybe throw a few shekels on for the good odds,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the key. So I think it's tougher right now to pick a winner of the Masters than it's ever been in the history of the sport because of Live Golf, right? These guys are playing in two different places now, right? They're not playing all together, so you don't get to see them go at it day after day or week after week and play against each other. So I tend to, I know the guys went to Live, and I know people have issues with it, but I tend to like some of those players on that tour. But I also tend to sit there and say, they put $200 million in their pocket. Are they working as hard as they used to? Dustin Johnson, married to Wayne Gretzky's wife, got the signing bonus of a couple $100 million. Doesn't seem like he's waking up at 6 a.m. doing push-ups and getting ready to play golf, right? So that question really makes it more difficult to me. So I'll lead with that a little bit, right? I'm a huge John Rahm guy, right? And I think nobody's kind of picking him. I think the odds, last time I looked, plus 1,100 maybe, something like that.
Yep. For
him, come on, dude. He's a top 2-3 player in the world. You can get plus 1,100. I know he's playing on the Live. I know you haven't seen him much, but the guy is just really, really good. I'm a John Rahm fan, right? I think he's going to be really good. Scotty Scheffler, obviously best player in the world. He's got a wrist injury, though, right? And playing golf with a little bit of an injury, he seems to be fighting through it and playing well, but he lost his kind of dominance that he had last year. He's still in it, but he's dealing with that. So I think you got to remember that if you're going to throw him in your pools or do what you're going to do from that side of it, because he's going to be in the mix. But, I like some other guys that are healthy and ready to go there from that standpoint. I'll go back to Live a little bit, and I know people won't like this. Brooks Koepka, when it's major time, is the guy, right?
Yep.
He's the alpha in the room. He has no fear of anybody. He would walk in this door right here at BIGPLAY and take this show over because he is the alpha, right? And he is a stud. And so I have a hard time not putting him into my mix because I'm a little afraid of him, and I love him. I just love that about him, right? I think he's great, right? So I think that's good stuff. There's some stats out there, because you scroll on Instagram, you get to see all this stuff, There's some stats out there that says that tee to green, there's only certain, in the last 10 out of 12 Masters winners, there's only certain guys that can win because this is the stat that gets it there, and it's a tee to green stat, right? Mm-hmm. Shane Lowry is one of those guys. So if you're looking for a little bit of a long shot right now, Shane Lowry, a good Irishman. Rory's one of those guys. I'm as Irish as it gets, but for an Irish guy, I'm probably not a big Rory fan compared to most. He just doesn't seem to handle the pressure coming down the stretch, man. With the
Jimmy,
putter.
it seems like, and it kind of seems like he's been a trendy pick coming into this week. Is you see a lot of the betting guys kind of all around Rory.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm looking at plus 650 for Rory to get that career Grand Slam this weekend. It's been over 10 years since he's got a major.
I mean,
right?
I'm a fan, but I'm just not buying. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan, but I'm not drinking his Kool-Aid, I think is what I would say. But so he scares me a little bit because listen, guys, I mean, you saw what happened with Bryson in U.S. Open, right? He missed 2 3-footers in the last 2-3 holes. Tiger never did that. Ever. That would never happen, right? So to try to even think about putting him in the world of Tiger it's just crazy, right? Yeah. Tiger didn't miss 3-footers. I mean, Bryson's a really long, wild shot right here. I mean, what's he doing? He's making YouTube videos. He's making millions, right? I mean, is he working on his game? I don't know, right? It's tough to tell. I know he can flip it over his house and knock it into the green. I know he can do that.
Didn't take him many days to get that done either.
Yeah. I mean, he can do that, but can he win the Masters? That's going to be a big question. So there's so many guys out there. It's so fun. I love this week, man. It's just so fun. And you believe it. Let me just tell you, I could hand you guys my phone right now. I will get 500 texts on who should I take in my Masters pool this week, right? And I don't know any better than anybody else, but I love to think that I do,
Yeah.
Jimmy, what have you appreciated the most about the evolution of golf? Because there are so many new variables.
There are so many new variables. I mean, I think the evolution from a standpoint of technology is I just turned 54 April Fool's Day. It's not a joke. And I probably hit it as far as I ever did when I was in my 20s because of technology now, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm 54, and I probably hit it as far as I did when I was, 23 and trying to play golf for a living, right? So That's cool. I think that's kind of makes it more fun for me at 54. I mean,
Yeah.
if I hit it 50 yards shorter, who wants to do that? That sucks, right? So that's fun in golf. I think that to me, the most fun I've had in golf in my career has been the last 3 years, right? Because COVID happened and kids that are Gabby's age and younger love the game now, right?
Yeah.
My son's friends are like loving the game. And they're not loving the game because they want to go play college golf or they want to be on the high school golf team. They're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
They're out there and they're talking crap and they're playing against each other. And whether they're shooting 120 or they're shooting 75, I think a lot of young people are loving the game. And I actually wish I was kind of 35 or 40 instead of 54 because I think golf is going to boom because of that in the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah, we got some fun things going on here with some big play golf as well.
Yeah, that's big play. I don't know how I don't know how much I'm like this or whatever, but big play golf is it's fun. Dude, you guys love the game, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I met you guys in the world, Dave loves the game. You guys just love the game.
Yeah,
right? It's
Reflug's
fun.
a Hall of Famer.
Dude, he's a
That's
Hall of
right.
Famer.
I'm a Hall of Famer, Granville
State.
High School. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
That is not brought up on this show nearly enough,
Yeah.
Jimmy. I
Wow.
appreciate
I
that.
didn't
agree.
know. I didn't know.
Hall of Famer,
What?
Granville
What?
High School. My picture is on the wall at the golf course down there in
ahead,
Granville,
King.
Denison Golf Course, as well as on the wall of the high school. I am a Hall
Yeah,
of Famer
Hall of
down there
Fame.
in Granville.
All right,
Yeah.
well,
Golf
we're
fan.
going
Playing
to
a
bring
state
this up more
championship.
often.
How
That's
about
right.
that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Maybe
It's
you
all
just
true.
referred to him as Reflog HOF.
That's right.
I
You know,
like
I'm
that.
a Hall of Famer as well.
Yeah.
Are you?
Did
Look
you
at
know
that.
Go
Yeah,
off,
this
Queen.
past year I got inducted into the John Carroll Hall of Fame.
Stop.
So that's two.
That's
Two
right.
Hall of
There we
Famers.
go.
Yeah.
Look at
Nick,
that.
how about you? What
No,
Hall of Fame are you
no,
in?
No, that's where we drop off.
I promise you, Nick will be in the Big Play Hall of Fame.
There you go.
Hey.
There we go.
Picture's
He's
going
just
to be
a
on the
little
wall.
younger.
I
You're a
will
little
say it'd be
younger.
like true at this point of like it'd be tremendously disappointing if I wasn't. So that's good to know.
I love it. I love it.
Cool. Awesome time hanging out in the studio with Jimmy. Appreciate you popping in here with us, man.
Yeah, man, I love it. Can't wait for this week, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Welcome on back into the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time to catch up with our guy. We welcome on in the NASCAR Cup driver for the number 10 Colleague Racing Chevy, Mr. Ty Dillon. Ty drives for your Northeast Ohio NASCAR team owner Matt Colleague, who fields 3 teams in the Xfinity Series, 2 teams in the NASCAR Cup Series. Ty, we talked about it last week. The possibility of starting a streak. Now that it's officially 3, we are on a streak here on the Big Play Cleveland Show. Thanks for popping on again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's I think it's real now. It's a streak. The momentum is real with our team right now. It's been a great couple weeks. This weekend at Darlington, finishing 16th was a really strong run for us. Getting stage points, finishing 8th in the second stage. We battled through a lot of adversity in the race, but our team is just getting stronger and stronger each week. So it's exciting times.
So speaking of some of that adversity, obviously qualifying 29th isn't the best and kind of puts you in a position where you had to battle all day. What's that mentality like when, you're starting things from kind of the back to work your way up like you did all day on Saturday?
Yeah, certainly we don't want to be qualifying back there. It definitely puts a little extra pressure on us early in the race to go have to perform. The leaders are moving pretty fast at the beginning of the race, and when you're starting that far behind, it's hard to get away from them. So luckily enough, my crew chief, Andrew, and all the guys really worked hard overnight to get the Seabest Camaro a lot better than we were in practice and qualifying. And from the drop of the green flag, we were going forward. We got pretty far forward. I think we got all the way up to 20th with like 5 or 6 laps to go in the first stage. We came down pit road and we had a lug nut that got cross-threaded on the hub. So then we came out dead last again. So it's like our race had to start back over, which was unfortunate. It's very easy to lose your mind in that situation. I was taking some deep breaths, but my guys did a great job just keeping me calm, believing in that we were going to get ourselves back up there. And sure enough, we did. We caught a couple breaks, but our car was fast enough to stay up in the top 10 for the whole second stage, finishing 8th in that stage. And then it was just a matter of executing. And I think our strategy got a little bit behind in the last stage under the green flag stops. And we still battled to a 16th place finish. And proud of our effort.
Yeah, talk about the resilience that it takes, because you had mentioned, that you were close to, freaking out, having a little bit of an episode there in the car, because I'm sure, trying to battle back and trying to make a comeback from anything is tough, but especially when the stakes are so high and when you're driving at such a fast rate of speed, trying to pick people off. What's the mentality like to try to stay calm but use that energy to continue to push forward?
Yeah, it's tough. You work really hard to. I think we were at 29th, and then we'd passed 9 cars, and you're doing everything you can to pass each car. It's not like these guys are just moving over and letting you go. They're making it as hard as possible. And when you fall all the way back to 38th because of just a error on pit road, then you look at this mountain that you have to climb again in less time. So it's frustrating, but you can't ever get yourself mentally out of it in NASCAR, because situations are always changing. You never know. I've been 3 or 4 laps down in races and still finished in the top 15. So just having that experience and knowing, and then just having a solid communication with my crew chief and spotter of just keeping it positive, keeping we're gonna come back and we're gonna make this thing good. And they did such an awesome job helping me stay calm and allow me to go do my job again.
So last week when we had you on, we kind of teased and promoted the car. The Chevy looked absolutely awesome. Obviously, it was throwback weekend in Darlington, which means everybody had a little bit of a throwback feel. You did a little homage scheme to Patty Moise, who I know stopped in the shop prior to the race. What was that whole experience like, having her in, especially as you were getting ready to drive her kind of throwback car?
Yeah, it was so cool. It was an idea from our sponsor, Seabest. Their original parent company was Beaver Street Foods, which actually sponsored Patty back in the day when she made her ARCA start at Daytona, and she's from the Jacksonville area. So kind of tying it all together, and she's a pioneer in our sport as a female driver. She cut her teeth kind of more road course racing, so the oval stuff was a little unique for her, and Daytona was a big moment. She actually sat on the pole for that race, and she was also led some laps, so it was a big moment for her to see that car. And man, she was pumped up. She jumped right in that race car like she had been racing, like she never stopped. And I was kind of worried that she was just going to take it out and she's going to go race it for me this weekend, but to run well with her on the car, it was super cool. She has awesome ties to the sport. Her husband Elton Sawyer is the comp director of NASCAR. So it's kind of cool to tie it all together. And the car looked really awesome too. I think a clean white race car is nice.
Yeah, it looks super sharp, and it was easy to monitor that 10 making its way to the front of the pack all Saturday long. Up next, you guys got Bristol Motor Speedway, known as the last great Coliseum, April 13th. It's another short track. Ty, you have 27 starts at the Tennessee track. Tell me a little bit about what people should expect this weekend.
Yeah, when you say that, that makes me feel a little old. I don't know, but no, I love Bristol, and you couldn't have given it a better name. When you walk in that place, really feels like you're walking into a Roman Coliseum. I've been to Super Bowls, I've been to Major League Baseball games, I've been to every sporting event, playoff hockey. When the crowd is revved up at Bristol for a NASCAR race and they're doing intros for the fans, nothing gives me more chills. That place, 170,000 people can fit in there. And then you have us driving cars inside of this arena in under 15 seconds, running about 160 miles per hour right there underneath your feet. So it's a special moment. If you're not human if you don't get chills as a race car driver going into Bristol. It's a place where I've had a lot of success. I've come really close to winning some Xfinity races there. I actually drove Tony Stewart's car there when he had broke his back a few years ago now, and had a really good run. Got put in the wall by a guy named Dale Jr. near the end of the race, running close to the top 10. So I know how to run well there. I've won a stage there in the past and ran really well in the dirt on that track. So I feel really good, especially with the momentum we're building with our race team, and just going to keep it rolling, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the momentum with Ty Dillon, obviously your NASCAR Cup driver for Colleague Racing, owned by Northeast Ohio's own Matt Colleague. Ty, appreciate you popping on to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We're going to keep the momentum going into this weekend. I could just feel it, man. And we'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our Fill in the Blank segment. This is brought to you by Pure AV. They specialize in sales, service, and installation of a variety of smart home technologies, and they do it all. They can help you get the perfect sports watching setup with their high-performance audio and video displays. They even offer hidden audio and video options that allow you to keep a clean, elegant interior without sacrificing your favorite technology. Pure AV can set you up with invisible architectural speakers that are hidden in your walls and ceilings, as well as disappearing TVs that vanish behind an art of mirrors. Visit pureavcore.com today to see everything they offer for your home. Okay, filling in the blank, fellas. Blank is the play-in team I hope the Cavs play in the playoffs, facing the playoffs.
I'm a petty guy, so I'd like to see Chicago. I'm one of those old heads that goes back to the 90s. I go back to the shot, and I go back to our rivalry with Michael Jordan and coming out on the short end of so many sticks there. Even more recently, the Joakim Noahs of the world shading Cleveland. So anytime we have a chance to beat Chicago, I'm going to grasp onto that. So give me Chicago in this first round, Nick.
I like that answer a lot, and I'll be petty and stick with the team that we've got a little bit of history with in recent years. And give me the Orlando Magic for a clash of the first round again. You know, the Magic last year gave the Cavs really all they could handle. That was a 7-game series, but the Cavs had the best player in that series, and it was Donovan Mitchell. But the Magic were physical. I would love to see this new kind of Cavs offense, Kenny Atkinson ball, if you will, against the Magic, and I think we'll see a much easier series this time. So I want the Magic because I want to put all of last year behind us once and for all.
All right. I have to look this one up because I'm going to change this next one because I blank when I saw Donovan Mitchell go down yesterday. Well, we all felt the same thing. The thing that I'm interested in, how do you feel? I blank that Draymond Green is so much far ahead of Evan Mobley in Defensive Player of the Year odds right now.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Evan Mobley should be the guy, odds-on favorite to win the Defensive Player of the Year right now. He's not. Draymond Green has gone on and made a whole campaign for himself, and it seems like all the NBA has kind of embraced pushing him up to that location as the number one favorite for the Defensive Player of the Year. But ultimately, Evan Mobley, I think, has played his tail off on the defensive end of the floor. I think he has just advanced so far, and I think he is heads and shoulders above Draymond Green, despite the fact that everybody, it seems, in the NBA is against that.
Here's the thing, though. Draymond's 35. So when Wembanyama went down, this is all Draymond has going for him. You know, long gone are the days of Draymond Green being an all-star. Gone are the days of Draymond Green being a contributor on a playoff team other than being a nuisance defensively. This is all Draymond has going for him. So when Wemby went down, this, of course, became a possibility. This is the NBA, the league, trying to get a guy like Draymond Green one last award on his way out. I think everybody that knows ball understands what Mobley means to the Cavs and their identity defensively, but it sure seems like it's going to go to Draymond Green.
Okay, how about if the Browns don't draft a quarterback at number 2, blank is the quarterback they should draft later on?
You know, a lot of people talked about Jackson Dart and have been on that Dart train for a long time. A guy who, if we get later on in the draft, like I say, we have 10 total picks in this draft. So if Will Howard is hanging around late, I wouldn't mind grabbing a guy like that. Ohio State champion, you know, a guy who obviously comes in with a lot of affinity here from myself and a lot of like-minded Buckeyes out there. I wouldn't mind having a champion like that on this roster in that quarterback room.
And you know, Chris, I think as you look at these quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe accepted his invitation to the green room, and there's only 13 prospects who received an invite. So Milroe will be one of the few prospects in the green room. Does he know that he's a first-round pick? So you could maybe scratch him off the list at 33. I think you could say the same about Jackson Dart. The Pittsburgh Steelers have spent extensive amount of time and work with Jackson Dart. That's why I think the Browns ultimately end up looking at all of their options, staying put at 2 and drafting a QB, because some of these quarterbacks, it's a quarterback league. So some of these guys are going to get drafted earlier than the rest of us think. And your option at 33, your best option at 33, if you wait, might end up being Will Howard. Howard, so it might not be in their best interest to wait. I would like Will Howard as well, just as an Ohio State fan, but it feels like they're putting a lot of work in with Jackson Dart as well, and there's something to be said about the aura and white boy swag and having a little bit of thick skin that I think is required to succeed at the quarterback position in Cleveland, and I think Jackson Dart has some of those intangibles.
How wild would it be instead of ending up with Will Howard, we end up with Kyle McCord?
Yeah,
right.
And Chris,
It
I'm
could happen.
told they met with Kyle McCord in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So it
Better
very well
arm
could
than Will
happen.
Howard, can throw the deep ball a little bit better. We'll see.
Okay, last one. Blank is going to win the Masters this weekend. Nick, I don't think we got your take.
We did it. So who's everybody have? Go
I had
down.
Rory.
All right.
I'll do John Rahm.
John Rahm,
Am I
okay.
gonna
He
go
had a
with the
good showing at the
He
Live
did.
event over this
He
weekend.
did. All right, I'll go with my guy, Jack. I'll go with Ludwig. Come on, we're going to do it because
Okay.
Roth is in on that pick as well. We need to give him a little bit of love on Big Play, so I'll go with Ludwig. Come on, Jack. I like it.
We got Jack in studio. Shout out to Rob as well. That's it for this week. A big thank you to Pure